Macklin pushed off, caught it, touchdown! Oh man! Never seen anything like this, ever!
Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back to our channel. NFL players are said to be real heroes, but there are so many players who ruin their careers just because of their weird addictions or hidden passions. There are many NFL players who, after destroying their careers, try to come back but failed miserably. Let's talk about NFL players that let themselves go. Number 3, Jared Lawrenson. Lawrenson's fall-off is one of the most heartbreaking stories in all of the NFL. Unlike any pro athlete ever, he was the first to predict his own death. It all started when Jared was a kid. Throughout his teen years, Jared treated sports like his life depended on it. He could have made it to the NBA if he wanted, but he was even better at football, and I mean, the man was already 240 pounds in high school, so football worked out perfectly. As a junior, Jared passed for a record 2,759 yards and 37 touchdowns. Then, during his senior year, he threw for 3,393 yards, 45 touchdowns, and rushed for 15 touchdowns as well. Jared went for Kentucky for college, and there he became even better. He had to drop 40 pounds down to 200 for his coach to let him play, but it was well worth it. Jared spent 4 years at Kentucky, and he threw for over 10,000 yards and 78 touchdowns. Both records stand to this day. But during all this, Jared's weight was slowly becoming a concern. By the end of his college career, Jared was 285 pounds. He wasn't the size of a typical quarterback, so no NFL team wanted to draft him. He signed to the Giants as a free agent, but they already had 2 solid quarterbacks, so Jared didn't get much of an opportunity. He eventually joined the Colts, where he only played that preseason after playing 4 games through 3 seasons. Jared decided the NFL just wasn't for him, and in 2011, he became a GM of the North Kentucky River Monsters, but he still preferred being on the field, so the team let him become their quarterback, and that year, Jared threw for 81 touchdowns and 1 MVP. He played a few seasons, but injuries got the best of him, and when he retired in 2013, the man was well over 300 pounds. Not long after he retired, his wife separated from him, and that sent him into a spiraling depression. The only comfort he had was food. The years went by, and Jared kept eating. Doctors told him he was literally killing himself, but Jared was in denial. Then, in 2019, Jared looked at himself in the mirror, hopped on a scale, and hated what he saw. So he started filming a documentary called The Jared Lawrenson Project, and during the first episode, he was nearly 600 pounds. Jared wanted to use this opportunity to inspire anyone else dealing with similar issues. He admitted he was eating dangerously and said, "The way I'm going right now is scary as it is. I'll die in 5 years. If I don't wake up tomorrow, it wouldn't be a shock to many people." One day, he felt a pain in his chest, so Jared called his father and said he didn't feel well. They called an ambulance, and when he got to the hospital, doctors found his oxygen levels low, his kidneys were failing, and his heart was enlarged. Jared lasted a few more days, but even with the doctors doing everything they could, he tragically passed away at 38 years of age. Number 2, Michael Vick. Michael Vick was the face of the NFL. He had all the potential in the world to become a Hall of Famer, and in the prime of his career, a scandal he was involved in completely ruined his life. When Vick was drafted to the NFL, he became one of the rarest players ever running. A 40-25 in the 40-yard dash, he was the fastest NFL quarterback ever, and that's why in Madden, they gave him the highest overall speed of 95. So not only was Vick a quarterback, he could run the ball better than most running backs, and after 3 seasons, he got the biggest contract in the NFL at the time that was worth $130 million. It seemed like nothing could slow him down until people found out what he was spending all these millions on. After receiving the tip, police started investigating Vic's cousin, and eventually, the trial led right to Michael Vick himself, and what they found was so horrifying it sent chills down their spines. Instead of finding evidence towards his cousin, they found dozens of injured and neglected dogs owned by Vic. This world-class athlete was spending his free time running a dogfighting ring, going under the alias of Yuki from 2001 to 2007. Hundreds of thousands of dollars were being gambled here, and at first when this was found, Vic denied any involvement, but it didn't last long since they found the dogs in his own house. He accepted the consequences and was sentenced to 23 months in prison. He paid over $1 million for care recovery and adoption for the dogs involved. Vic went from a superstar football player to a felon. After this, the public hated Michael Vick, but at the end of the day, the NFL is a business. Therefore, he wasn't completely banned from the league. All these years, fans protested and petitioned to have him kicked out, and in 2016, when his stats were dropping off, no teams wanted him and he had to retire.
That ever happened to me in my life was me getting shipped off to Kansas, man. Because other than that, I wasn't going to change.
Number 1, Jamarcus Russell. Who might forget the physical freak Russell was coming out of LSU? Arm power, height, and decent versatility gave Raiders optimism for a happier future. The problem is, Russell has struggled miserably to live up to the hype. In fact, it was so poor that the Raiders would have been best suited by taking a kicker or punter first overall. In 31 games, Jamarcus shot 18 touchdowns, 23 turnovers, recorded a career completion rate of just over 52%, a comically poor quarterback rating of 65.2, and ended his career with a 7-18 record as a starter. He also let his weight creep up north of 300 pounds as a quarterback. As recently as the last offseason, Russell was making his way back to the NFL. He reportedly sent a letter to Jerry Jones saying he'd played for free. I don't think that Russell has ever had an answer. Now, ideally, with a calm conscience, Russell will get back to his real love of food. These were some of the really sad stories of the players who let the fans down by not giving a stop to what they were doing. Many players eradicated themselves such that there was no chance of them coming back on any social platform. And because of that, they received a lot of hate from the public. However, all of these players could have controlled themselves. Do give us your thoughts in the comments section below, as well as hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to our channel if you want more content like this in the future. Until next time guys, take care and goodbye.